Projekt Guru.
Всем привет! С вами Zak Novak на радиостанции Novorossia Rocks. Welcome to Novorossia Rocks radio station. This is Zak Novak, your American in downtown Donetsk. The program is called Projekt Guru, and Guru is in the house as always. My engineer Andre as well. Let's get right to it. Crisis news from Novorossia. Coup leader Poroshenko and his Nazi war machine committing more and more war crimes, atrocities. Civilian areas once again bombed by Kiev Junta army. 1 killed, wounded, homes destroyed, all backed by the Obama regime. A citizen killed, perished by artillery shelling of Yasinovato by Nazi Kiev forces, according to DPR Defense Ministry. It's reported that the dirty old man was killed in Yasinovato and a 73-year-old woman was badly wounded as well in Petrovsky district of Donetsk. Also, at least 7 homes were badly damaged, including an apartment complex. Earlier, another report that due to the result of night shelling by Kiev Nazi forces, a man of 36 was badly wounded in Alexandrovka, war crimes by the Kiev Junta regime. Let's keep going. JCC headquarters attacked. At about 8 p.m. last night, Nazi Kiev forces started shelling the village of Alexandrovka, where the Joint Center on Ceasefire Control Coordination is situated. Several mortars landed close to the base. Russian officers were all evacuated. In regard to the information and data from command, shelling was carried out from occupied Nazi Kiev-controlled Mariinka with the use of mortars of 120mm caliber. Altogether, 10 mortars were launched. Let's continue. Alexandrovka targeted once again. A civilian wounded, 3 homes damaged due to the result of shelling of the village of Alexandrovka in the western suburb of Donetsk by Nazi Kiev Junta forces. The village of Alexandrovka was targeted by Kiev enemies. A civilian male badly wounded. 3 homes were damaged, according to DPR Defense Ministry. War crimes by the Kiev Junta regime. Fascist U.S. regime, together with Saudi Arabia, killing 10,000 in Yemen. If this is not war crimes, what is? Death tolls in a Saudi invasion of Yemen have been tough to come by, in no small part because much of the country has become a no-go area in the course of the reckless Saudi air campaign. Food shortages, medical shortages, destroyed hospitals, and hasty burials have conspired with mass internal displacement to make tracking casualties all but impossible. But just a week after the UN Human Rights Watch office reported about 4,000 civilians killed over the course of the war, UN humanitarian coordinator Jamie McGoldrick told a news conference he believes the overall toll is in excess of 10,000. With many areas turned into war zones, there aren't reliable records on casualties, and with millions displaced within the country and some 200,000 having fled abroad, it's often impossible to tell who was killed and who simply fled elsewhere. All these factors are likely to mean we never fully know the death toll of this war, but McGoldrick sees ample reason to believe it's on the high end, and with more than half of the population relying on food aid, which isn't always quick in being delivered, there is always a risk of the toll getting worse. Guru, this is for you. You were exactly right yesterday. America's war in Syria in total chaos as all US-backed groups are at war with each other. With America's own war in Syria vague in both scope and endgame, they've been eager to amass allies that seem potentially useful towards some talking point or another. In having done so, however, they've picked up a motley crew of US-backed groups that have wildly different goals. That's been a recurring problem, but became dramatically more so this past week when US-backed Turkey invaded northern Syria and brought with it a US-backed rebel bloc that includes part of the Free Syrian Army, the FSA, and the Islamist Ahrar al-Sham. Within 24 hours, both quickly got into a fight with the Kurdish YPG, who is also US-backed, putting 3 US allies in direct conflict. Exactly what you said, Guru. US officials have been quick to complain about the matter, arguing that fighting is unacceptable and that the battlefield in this area of North Syria along the Euphrates River is getting too crowded. But such factions were at odds from the start, making the conflicts only a matter of time. Indeed, throughout the US war in Syria, they've been backing the Kurdish YPG despite explicit warnings from Turkey that it would lead to exactly exactly what led to Turkish intervention to stop the Kurds from expanding further west. Turkey was very public about the Euphrates River being a red line and invaded almost immediately after the Kurds captured their first city on the other side of the river. The U.S. calls for everyone just to focus on ISIS rings extremely hollow, because while all these factions got into proximity with one another by taking ISIS territory, largely with the help of the U.S., the juiciest plums in the area are no longer in ISIS' hands, and the fight against ISIS was always going to be followed up immediately with this fight. More of the same as Syria war spinning out of control for the Obama regime, telling allied Turkey to back off on the Kurds after the U.S. carried out airstrikes in support of their invasion last week. Secretary of State Ash Carter was the latest in growing number of U.S. officials criticizing Turkey for its attacks against the Kurdish YPG in Syria, insisting that their involvement in the war must stay focused exclusively on ISIS. Carter told the media that there had been a number of contacts with Turkey over the past several days to the effect that he made clear the U.S. believes that any fighting in northern Syria against anyone other than ISIS amounts to giving ISIS more space. Turkey's invasion greatly complicates U.S. policy in northern Syria, since Turkey brought an allied rebel faction in with them, and both of them are overt allies of the U.S., but also in direct hostilities with the Kurds, who themselves are also U.S. allies. Last week, the U.S. had demanded the Kurds cede the city of Manbij to Turkey, but they have not reiterated that since, and having supported the Kurdish YPG earlier this month in attacking not just ISIS, but also the Syrian military in Hassak, the U.S. seems eager not to burn any figurative bridges with any of its many allies in Syria, but struggles to do anything about them fighting one another. Guru, listen to this. Majority of Ukrainians want to leave Ukraine. The number of Ukrainians who want to leave their homeland for foreign countries has increased over the past year. A TNS online track survey suggests 65% of respondents say they intend to move abroad. 1/3 of those polls said they had no chance to immigrate, while in 1/8 people said they would like to leave the country temporarily to wait for the situation to stabilize, the TNS online track said. At the same time, 20% of Ukrainians, which is twice as many as revealed by the survey last year, are determined to leave Ukraine permanently. Ukrainian men, 24%, are more inclined to move for permanent residence abroad. 1/3 of old people said they were not ready to leave their homeland, while 1/5 of young Ukrainians replied they were ready to go to live in foreign countries. The TNS online track opinion poll was carried out in all parts of Ukraine in July among urban populations aged 18 to 55. Ukraine's migration levels have been on the rise in recent years, with 900,000 people leaving the country in 2014 to 2015. Almost 750,000 of them left for Russia, where they sought a refugee status. About 81,000 Ukrainians chose Belarus as a new place of residence. Almost 5,000 people have moved to live in European countries. According to the statistics, almost 55% of Ukrainians have left their homeland for other countries over the past 2 years. Most of those who are leaving Ukraine are desperate work migrants who have given up all hope to improve their lives at home. All in all, 4.5 million job seekers have officially left Ukraine since '91. However, experts believe real figures are much higher and could amount to 7 to 7.5 million people. Guru Andre. Attack on Chinese embassy. 1 dead, 3 wounded in Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan's government is due to hold a meeting to discuss security measures after an attack on a Chinese embassy in Bishkek carried out by a suicide bomber, the press service said. The meeting will be attended by Deputy Prime Minister Zenish Razakov, as well as the heads of the country's general staff, the State National Security Committee, the Interior Ministry, Emergencies Ministry, and the State Border Service. Razakov will discuss with the representatives of the security bloc the public security issues amid today's terrorist attack on the territory of the Chinese embassy in the Republic. At around 10 a.m. local time on Tuesday, an unidentified individual driving a Mitsubishi attempted to ram into the gates of the embassy. Shortly afterwards, an explosion occurred. According to preliminary data, an explosive device had been planted in the car. The driver of the vehicle died instantly. 3 Kyrgyz citizens who were on the embassy's premises were wounded. No Chinese diplomats were hurt. No terrorist groups have claimed responsibility for the attack, according to China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Huan Xiaoying. Andre, listen to this. Fascist Albanian National Army threatens war with Montenegro, our brothers and sisters. Organization Fascist Albanian National Army, the NAA, threatened that there will come to war between Kosovo and Montenegro if the agreement on demarcation with Montenegro is ratified. The organization called on political parties in Montenegro to reject the agreement because with its acceptance, they will take the responsibility for the outbreak of war between the two nations. The proclamation sent by the organization to the media says that the members of the Assembly of the self-proclaimed Kosovo will be considered traitors if, at the meeting on 1st September, they vote for a demarcation agreement. Albanian National Army, the fascist Albanian National Army, also says its members will be deployed in certain locations in order to monitor developments. Hey everyone, that ends our program. As I stress always, be safe out there, be on alert, and see you all on Friday. Bye-bye, folks.